Have you ever looked upon our world and wished, just for a moment, that it held a little more magic, a touch more honor? This is a feeling that has echoed through the human heart for centuries. It is the very same feeling that seized a gentleman from La Mancha, a figure brought to life by the brilliant Spanish writer Miguel de Cervantes. In his masterpiece, Don Quixote, we are introduced to a man who decides that the world as it is simply not enough. He reads so many tales of chivalry, of knights and damsels and giants, that the line between fiction and reality begins to blur, and he sets out to restore a forgotten age of glory. This man, Alonso Quijano, renames himself Don Quixote de la Mancha. He dons a rusty suit of armor, mounts his weary old horse, Rocinante, and pledges his service to a peasant girl whom he imagines as the noble lady Dulcinea del Toboso. To the world he is a fool, a madman chasing phantoms, but through his eyes we are invited to see something quite different. At its very core, the tale of Don Quixote is about the extraordinary power of belief. Think of a child in a garden. To our eyes, it is merely a patch of grass with a few scattered trees, but to the child, it is an uncharted jungle, a fortress, or a secret kingdom. Don Quixote does precisely this, but on the scale of a lifetime. He looks upon a simple country inn and with unwavering conviction sees a magnificent castle. This is not merely a mistake, it is an act of will. In our own lives, we face similar choices every day. We can view a difficult colleague as an adversary, or we can choose to see them as a person facing their own unseen struggles. We can see a challenging project as an insurmountable obstacle, or as an epic quest that will test our skills and fortitude. Don Quixote teaches us that our perception is not passive, it is an active force that shapes our experience. One of the most touching aspects of Don Quixote's journey is his unwavering devotion to a woman he has never truly met, Dulcinea del Toboso. In reality, she is a local peasant girl, yet in Don Quixote's mind, she is the epitome of beauty, virtue, and grace. Think of an artist staring at a blank canvas. Before a single drop of paint is applied, they hold a vision in their mind. The masterpiece exists as an ideal long before it becomes a physical object. Similarly, we are all driven by unseen forces, a love for justice, a passion for knowledge, a commitment to kindness. These are not things we can hold in our hands, yet they are the most powerful motivators in our lives. No story of Don Quixote is complete without his loyal squire, the pragmatic Sancho Panza. If Don Quixote represents the soaring spirit of idealism, Sancho represents the grounding force of reality. He does not see giants, he sees windmills. He does not see castles, he sees inns. We all have a bit of both characters within us. There is the part that dreams of changing the world, our inner Don Quixote, and the part that reminds us to pay the bills, our inner Sancho Panza. The story suggests that a balanced life requires us to listen to both voices. The most famous image from the book is undoubtedly Don Quixote charging at a field of windmills, convinced they are monstrous giants. On the surface, it is pure comedy, but if we look deeper, the scene reveals a more complex meaning. While the giants are not real, Don Quixote's courage most certainly is. How often do we see what we believe to be an injustice and simply walk by, choosing not to get involved? This iconic episode asks us to consider the nature of the giants in our own lives. Don Quixote's charge is a powerful symbol of the will to fight against overwhelming odds for the sake of one's principles. It is about being willing to look foolish in the service of what you believe is right. Throughout his adventures, Don Quixote fails constantly and spectacularly. By any conventional measure, his quest is a disaster, and yet this is precisely where the book's deepest wisdom can be found. After every fall, every beating, he picks himself up and gets back on his horse, his belief entirely unshaken. Think of a scientist who spends a lifetime working on a cure only to fail. Does their failure negate the value of their effort? Don Quixote's story would argue that it does not. The effort itself, the purity of intention, and the courage to persevere, these are what bestow honor. A life filled with noble failures is infinitely more meaningful than a life of timid inaction. True failure is not falling down, it is refusing to get back up. As his journey nears its end, Don Quixote is defeated and returns home. On his deathbed, he renounces his identity, declaring it all to have been foolish madness. He dies as Alonso Quijano, the sane country gentleman once more. His friends weep for him. They do not mourn the passing of the sane Alonso Quijano. They mourn the loss of the magnificent, mad Don Quixote. They had come to love the dreamer, not the realist. He forces us to look at our own lives and ask what we truly believe in. What are our windmills? What is our Dulcinea? Are we living with the courage of our convictions, or have we settled for a quieter, more sane existence? And so, the story of the Knight of the Woeful Countenance endures. It is a timeless exploration of what it means to be human, to be caught between the world as it is and the world as we wish it could be. Perhaps the ultimate lesson is that while a life of pure idealism may be unsustainable, a life without any idealism at all is barely a life worth living. What part of his quest will you carry forward in your own? The choice, as always, remains yours.